Hey guys, it's Sagar, and here is my full review of the Redmi Note 10 Pro after using it for over 2 months. Before we begin, let me make one thing very clear. This is the Indian variant of the Redmi Note 10 Pro, and unlike the Redmi Note 10 Pro sold elsewhere in the world, this one comes with a 64 megapixel camera. The one with 108 megapixel camera is also available in India, but it is called the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. With that taken care of, let us go ahead with this video. Redmi announced 3 variants of this phone. The 6GB RAM and 64GB variant is priced at 15,999 rupees, and Redmi finally made it available for sale after 2 whole months. The 6GB RAM and 128GB storage variant, which is the one that I have, is available for 16,999 rupees, and I think this variant gives you the most value for your money. And finally, there is the 8GB RAM and 128GB storage variant, and it retails at 18,999 rupees. Even though the Redmi Note 10 Pro comes with a dedicated microSD card slot, I think you should choose the 128GB storage variant if you plan on using this phone for 2 years or more. I mentioned it a few times in the unboxing video that I really like the size of this phone, and in the last 2 months I have appreciated its size and build quality even more. Although this phone packs in the same display and battery as the Redmi Note 9 Pro, Redmi has somehow managed to make this phone narrower, shorter, thinner and lighter as well. And all of this while not compromising on the build quality or materials. I really like how this phone feels in my hand. The frame running around the phone is made of plastic, but it is painted to look like metal. And the front and back of the phone are made of glass. The front gets Gorilla Glass 5 protection. What is more impressive is that the back glass has a frosted matte finish, which we don't see in phones of this price range. Now you should know that the frosted matte glass back is just on the bronze and blue colored phones, whereas the black one gets a glossy glass back. Redmi is one of the only companies giving glass back phones in this price range, while most of the others are still using plastic for the back. I think by now you all can guess that I am very impressed with the build quality of this phone. If you give this phone in someone's hand who doesn't know how much it costs and ask them to guess the price, they would definitely say it costs upward of 23 or 25,000 rupees. It looks and feels that premium. If there is something that I don't like about the design, then it has to be how far the rear camera module sticks out. Even with the case on, the phone rattles if you try to use it placed on any flat surface. Other than this small thing, I have no issues with the design of this phone. Redmi has also made sure to include all the ports and sensors that most people expect to get on a phone in this price range. It gets a 3.5mm headphone jack, IR blaster, which many people love and use to control various gadgets in their home, and it even gets stereo speakers. Add to the list this SIM tray, which can hold 2 nano SIM cards and a microSD card at the same time, and you will find very little to complain about the design or build of this phone. It even gets IP53 splash and dust resistance rating. Continuing the list of amazing features, Note 10 Pro comes with a gorgeous 6.67-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 2400 by 1080 pixels, peak brightness of 1200 nits, 120Hz refresh rate, 240Hz touch sampling rate, and HDR10 support. This is one of the good AMOLED panels, and it doesn't feel cheap. Since it's a Super AMOLED display, colors look punchy and vibrant, and it can get very bright, so you won't have any issues viewing it in most of the outdoor lighting conditions. The peak brightness rating for this display is 1200 nits, but you can reach it by just moving the brightness slider to max. To reach the peak brightness levels, you will have to view HDR content at maximum brightness. Otherwise, the typical peak brightness for this display in normal conditions is 450 nits. Some people have reported screen flickering at low brightness levels or when the phone is in dark mode. Xiaomi also acknowledges this issue, but they said that very small number of devices are affected by this and they are working on a fix for it. Fortunately, there is no such issue on my Note 10 Pro. There is wideband L1 support, so you can view high resolution content on Amazon, Netflix and other streaming services. So if you like to binge watch content, you are going to love this phone for its display. Honestly, I am surprised how Redmi managed to pack in such a wonderful display in a phone which starts at just over 15,000 rupees, because at this price, this is the best display you will find on any phone right now. You do get always on display option, and you can choose from quite a few options which you can display when the screen is off. But although this mode is called always on display, it doesn't always stay on. It comes on for 10 seconds when you move or tap the phone, and then it goes away. I would have liked the option to dim it and have it on all the time. Since it's an AMOLED display, I don't think this would consume a lot of battery. I have used this phone in 120Hz mode since the beginning, and other than for the first week or so, I did not face any major stuttering or lagging issues. It is super smooth while scrolling or while playing games, but occasionally I do see a few frame drops when I switch between apps. This is not a major issue and I'm sure most people won't even notice it. But I did, so I thought I should mention it in this video. If you liked the video so far, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more quality tech videos like this. The fingerprint sensor to unlock this phone is placed on the right side under the power button, and I like this physical fingerprint sensor over the in-display ones on the other phones in this price range. Quite simply because it is fast and accurate. I have had no issues with it, and for me it has been working 10 out of 10 times. The earpiece speaker above the display is clear, and it can also get pretty loud if you find yourself in a noisy environment. The stereo speakers are also good. They sound deep and they can get very loud. I won't call them the best speakers on any phone or anything like that, but for this particular price range, they sure are one of the best sounding pair of stereo speakers. Audio via the headphone jack is also very nice. So if you pair this phone with good or even decent sounding earphones, you can get a good audio out of them and have an overall pleasing listening experience. This Redmi Note 10 Pro is powered by the Snapdragon 732G processor, and coupling that with Adreno 618 GPU, you get very good performance out of this phone. It can open and run all the apps and games that you can throw at it. Everyday apps run like a breeze, and after the first two updates, RAM management has also got a lot better. I remember when I first got this phone, it could barely keep 3 to 4 apps open in the background, but now it has no problem keeping 8 to 10 or even more apps in its memory. This phone can run most of the games, but you might want to play the more graphics intensive games at medium settings, because at higher settings you might see a few frame drops which might come in the way of smooth gameplay. And at the highest settings, the phone also gets a bit warm after long hours of gaming session. It doesn't overheat like the OnePlus 9 Pro or anything like that, but it just gets a bit warm. If you are looking for a phone which will give you better gaming performance, you might want to look at the Poco X3 Pro, because that one will give you a better performance while playing games. Now for most people, I think this Redmi Note 10 Pro can do everything that they can throw at it. It was running MIUI 12 out of the box, and I've got quite a few updates in the last 2 months, and right now it is on MIUI 12.5.1 to be precise. MIUI gives you a lot of customization options and features like game mode, dual apps, split screen, dark mode and so on, but it also shows you ads, vague notifications and promoted apps every now and then. It also comes with a lot of bloatware out of the box, some of which you can't even uninstall. I think MIUI is the biggest downside of this Redmi Note 10 Pro, or most of the other Redmi and Xiaomi phones for that matter. Redmi needs to make it lighter, stutter-free, and somehow get rid of the spam notifications and let us delete all the applications that we want to. That might make the MIUI experience a lot better. You get all the features like carrier aggregation, native video calling, Wi-Fi calling, built-in call recording via Google Dialer, and so on.
This call is now being recorded.
Right now, everything or most of the things on this phone are very good. But honestly, I can't say whether things will remain the same in the future. Redmi has a very bad reputation and track record of ruining good phones with software updates few months or years down the line. Take any of their phones, Redmi Note 5 Pro, Note 6 Pro, Note 7 Pro or even the Note 8 Pro. These were very good phones at the time they came out, but Redmi has been ruining them with software updates over time. I just hope the same thing doesn't happen with this phone. What I like to do is, for the first 6 months after getting any Redmi or Xiaomi phone, I install all the software updates as and when they come. But after that, I don't install new updates right away, I wait for a few weeks to install them. In that time, other people who install these updates make it clear for us online whether or not we should install it. And I suggest you do the same. One of the reasons that you are considering this phone for might be its cameras. I have uploaded a very detailed camera review of this phone where I go much deeper into all these cameras and their features. For a detailed look at the cameras on this phone, I suggest you definitely check that video out. I will leave card to it on the top right corner of the screen and also link it in the description section. If you are in a hurry, here is the gist of that video. Cameras on this phone are very good. I just feel there is a bit extra contrast in the images from its main camera, so the shadows are crushed in these shots. And it captures a bit warmer images compared to the actual scene, which depending on your color preference, you may or may not like. These things could be easily fixed with updates, or even you can fix them in editing. Or better yet, you could use Gcam with it and this phone will take much better images in all lighting conditions. The wide camera is more or less similar to the other phones in this price range. It is not bad, but it is not too good either. It can take good portrait shots, and like with most of the other Xiaomi phones, edge detection is on point with it. but the dynamic range could and should have been better while taking portraits. Macro lens on this phone is one of the best. You can get so much closer to your subject, and thanks to the 5 megapixel sensor behind this lens, these macro shots have very good amount of details in them. Low light performance is average at best, both with and without the night mode turned on. I mean, it is better than the Realme 8 Pro's low light performance, but I think it should have been even better. All I would say, the cameras on this phone are again the best in its price range. If you take most of your images in daytime, or if you take portraits or macro shots, you will just love these cameras. Coming to the battery, there is a 5020 mAh battery inside this phone, and I found it to be perfectly adequate to comfortably take me through the day and then some. Typically, I get a screen on time of anything between 6.5 to 8 hours by the time I am ready to connect this phone to the charger. In the beginning, I had some battery drain issues when this phone was sitting idle, but this was fixed with one of the software updates, and now you can see that the battery did not drain at all when the phone was sitting idle throughout the night. The most it drains is while playing demanding games. Overall, I am happy with the battery life on this phone. When it is time to charge it up, it does come with a 33-watt fast charger in the box. For some reason, people are having different charging times with this charger. For some people, this charger will take their phone from 0 to 100% in around 90 minutes, but for others and for me, it takes around 110 minutes or 1 hour 50 minutes to completely charge it. If you have this phone, please let me know in the comments how long does it take to go from 0 to 100% with the included charger. After looking at all these things, I feel that the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is the best phone that most people can get in under 20,000 rupees. Surely it does come with some issues like minor stutters or lags while switching between apps. Low light performance of the cameras is not the best. Charging speed is behind the competition, and MIUI is not as refined as it should be. But despite of all these things, you get many things that the competition just doesn't provide at this price point, like a superior build quality with glass at the front and back, frosted matte glass pack, Super AMOLED display with 120Hz refresh rate, good sounding stereo speakers, a fairly good vibration motor, and amazing battery life. I think all these things makes the Redmi Note 10 Pro the best mid-budget smartphone that you can get right now. There is the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max with the 108 megapixel camera, but it costs 3000 rupees more than this one, and to be honest, in real life, if you don't compare these images side by side, you can't even tell which is from 64 megapixel camera and which one is from the 108 megapixel one. So my honest opinion is, get the Redmi Note 10 Pro and save yourself some money. Well, these have been my thoughts about the Redmi Note 10 Pro after using it for 2 months. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments. If you like it and are planning to get it, I will really appreciate if you get it from the affiliate links in the description section. And please do yourself a favor and go for the vintage bronze or glacial blue color with the frosted matte back instead of the glossy back on the dark night color. That is it for this video, guys. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel for more quality tech videos like this. You can also check out some of the other videos from this channel. This has been Sagar, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.